Do you still remember how to say, not to worry?
没关系，没关系。
And what was the word for student?
学生
How did you say 100?
100
How might you say 100 years ago?
100年前 or 100年以前
Say 25 years later.
25年后 or 25年以后
How would you ask, do you like watching movies?
你喜欢看电影吗？你喜欢看电影吗？
Remember, it's most natural to include the associated verb in sentences like this, so you'll say watching movies rather than just movies. Now, do you remember how you said on the table?
桌子上
And in the restaurant?
饭店里
And what were the full words for inside, on top, and underneath?
里面上面下面
Remember, mian meant something like side or surface. And how did you say before?
以前
Listen to the full word for in front.
前面前面前面
That's the same qian as is used in before. In Old English, he stood before me would mean he stood in front of me. So even in English, we also use before to mean in front. Say in front in Mandarin.
前面
How would you say he's in China?
他在中国
So how would you say he's in front, meaning he is in front of me, or he is at the front?
他在前面他在前面
How did you say after?
以后
So how do you think you would say behind?
后面后面
The aft of something is the back end of it, so you can use this to remember that after is the same as behind in Mandarin. Say together in front and behind.
前面后面
And now say before and after.
以前以后
Say he is behind or he is at the back.
他在后面他在后面
And how did you say 2 years ago?
2年以前 or 2年前2年以前 or 2年前
What about 1 week later or after a week?
1个星期以后 or 1星期后
Both of those are acceptable ways of expressing this. However, because 一个星期以后 is longer, it's emphasizing the point, so you might use it when you're emphasizing the exact time. Do you still remember how to ask, do you know her?
你认识他吗？你认识他吗？
Ask, where is she?
他在哪儿？
Reply, she is up front, or she is at the front.
他在前面。
How would you say, they are at the back?
他们在后面。
But what was the expression for last year? Literally, the year that's gone.
去年。
Say, in the front, there are some grapes. At the back, there are some apples.
前面有一些葡萄，后面有一些苹果。前面有一些葡萄，后面有一些苹果。
How did you say, my apples?
我的苹果。
So, the was the particle that indicated possession. But frequently, it can be left off when the context is very clear or you're talking about someone close to you. Doing so, say, my family.
我家人 or 我家里人。
And my friend.
我朋友。
But when the context is less clear, it should be included. As such, say again, my apples.
我的苹果。
And how did you say the apples here, meaning the apples of this place?
这里的苹果。
So Mandarin assigns possession to objects and locations as well. Using that method, how might you say, the apple on the table? Literally, on the table's apple.
桌子上的苹果。桌子上的苹果。
And in the same manner, the person on the table.
桌子上的人。桌子上的人。
Try and say, the person in front.
前面的人。前面的人。
And the person behind.
后面的人。后面的人。
Think about how you might say, the person behind us. What you'll literally be saying is, our behind's person, the person that belongs to behind us. Try it.
我们后面的人。我们后面的人。
How did you say that person?
那个人。
So, how might you say, that person behind us?
我们后面的那个人。我们后面的那个人。
What was the word for the UK?
英国。
Say, I'm British.
我是英国人。
Notice in this case, the Chinese say, I am a UK person, and not, I belong to the UK, as is implied in English when we say, I am British or I am American. So how would you say, the person behind us is British?
我们后面的人是英国人。
How would you say, that British person?
那个英国人。那个英国人。
So what about that British person behind us.
我们后面的那个英国人。我们后面的那个英国人。
Say, he wants to buy a book.
他想买一本书。他想买一本书。
Now, notice we've used 想 there rather than 要, even though the English is translated as want. 要 is closer to a certainty, and 想 expresses a desire or uncertainty as to whether something will happen. So if you're not certain of someone's intentions, using 想 is a more appropriate way to say you think they want something. It's not possible to directly translate every English sentence to Mandarin whilst still sounding natural, and so, up to now, for simplicity, we've been using simple English sentences where yao mostly fits. From now on, we'll start introducing a little more nuance, giving the English sentence naturally, but defaulting to the appropriate Mandarin word to use based on the situation. Use your best judgment as to which to use and see if it matches. Generally, 想 whenever there's an element of doubt or politeness, and 要 whenever you're expressing certainty and intention. Say, he wants to buy a Chinese book.
他想买一本中文书。
And do you still remember the words for before and after?
以前。以后。
And how did you say not to worry?
没关系。
And goodbye?
再见。
Do you remember how to ask when? Literally, what time?
什么时候？什么时候？
Which part of that meant time or moment?
时候。
As I mentioned earlier, it's actually the 时 that carries the meaning of time in that word, and the second part, 后, clarified it as a moment in time. Now, what was the word for small?
小。
To say hour, the Chinese say small time. Listen.
小时。小时。小时。小时。
That's small, 小, combined with the first character for time, 时. It comes about because ancient Chinese sundials broke the day into 12 portions, and a half portion was referred to as a small period, which has survived as 小时 today. Say 3 hours.
3个小时。3个小时。
What was the word for day?
天。天。
Tian actually serves as its own counterword, so you don't need to use ge with it. How would you say 3 days?
3天。3天。
Say, I need 5 hours.
我需要5个小时。我需要5个小时。
Say, after 2 days.
2天后。
So how would you say after 2 hours?
2个小时后。2个小时后。
Say, I'll come to meet you.
我来见你。我来见你。
How would you say, I'll come to meet you after 2 hours? Consider the sentence order. Remember, after 2 hours is a time period.
2个小时后我来见你。Or 2个小时后我来见你吧。2个小时后我来见你。Or 2个小时后我来见你吧。
Time periods can come before or after the subject in sentences like this. But when they're long time expressions, it's frequently clearer to put them at the front. In 2 hours, I'll come and meet you. Say, in 62 hours, I'll come and meet you.
62个小时后我来见你吧。
Say, I'll come too.
我也来。
Say, I would also like to come.
我也想来。
How would you say the person in front?
前面的人。
And the person behind?
后面的人。
Say, in an hour or after an hour.
1个小时后 or 1小时后。1个小时后 or 1小时后。
Say, in an hour, I'll go to meet my older brother.
1小时后我会去见我哥哥。1小时后我会去见我哥哥。
Say, yesterday I went to visit my younger brother.
我昨天去见了我弟弟。or 昨天我去见了我弟弟。
And what about, last year I visited my younger sister?
我去年见了我妹妹。or 去年我见了我的妹妹。
How would you ask, how much is a glass of beer?
一杯啤酒多少钱？一杯啤酒多少钱？
Reply, 100 kwai.
100块。
How did you ask, what time?
什么时候？什么时候？
Say, let's go in the morning.
我们早上去吧。我们早上去吧。
Notice again the words in and the are not used in Mandarin. This sentence is literally, we, morning go, let's. Remembering that such words aren't needed can make sentences much easier to form. Now try and say, let's go to the restaurant in the morning.
我们早上去饭店吧。我们早上去饭店吧。
And now, let's go to the restaurant in the morning to eat breakfast.
我们早上去饭店吃早饭吧。我们早上去饭店吃早饭吧。
Say, sorry, I can't go.
对不起，我不能去。
Say, sorry, I can't go in the morning.
对不起，我早上不能去。
Say, sorry, I can't go in the morning. Let's go in the evening.
对不起，我早上不能去，我们晚上去吧。
What was the word for hour?
小时，小时，
Say, after 2 hours.
2个小时后 or 2小时后。
And how did you say behind?
后面，
Ask again when or what time.
什么时候？什么时候？
Now this word for time, 时候, meant a period of time. For example, the period of time when I lived in China, or when I was small. Do you remember how you said, the person behind me?
我后面的人。
So how might you say, when I was small? Literally, the time belonging to me small.
我小的时候。我小的时候。
Try and say, when we go.
我们去的时候。我们去的时候。
Say, when we go to China.
我们去中国的时候。
What about when I'm at home?
我在家的时候。
And what about when we eat dinner?
我们吃晚饭的时候。
How would you say after we eat dinner?
我们吃完饭以后。我们吃完饭以后。
How would you say, previously I lived in the UK, meaning in the past?
我以前住在英国。
Say, previously I lived in the UK, but now I live in America.
我以前住在英国，但是现在我住在美国。我以前住在英国，但是现在我住在美国。
By the way, le is optional in that sentence. It is technically a change of state, but the sentence is verbose and clear enough that it's not absolutely necessary. What about, previously I didn't like this, implying that now you do?
我以前不喜欢这个了。我以前不喜欢这个了。
And now try and say the full thing. Previously I didn't like this, but now I do.
我以前不喜欢这个，但是现在喜欢了。我以前不喜欢这个，但是现在喜欢了。
Notice again the English I do there means that you do like. So to say that in Mandarin, you simply repeat the verb 喜欢